Hello, real estate world. Welcome to the Nova Show, Real Estate Records. This is Nuria Rivera, owner of Novation Title. I wanted to create the space for you guys to be able to share success stories, but not only success stories. I also wanted you guys to be able to share raw stories. Everything that you have learned from the failures, the lessons, the wins. This is a space for our community to come together so that we can help each other rise to the next level. This is the space to be vulnerable, and this is the space for us to all be able to support each other in this real estate world. Please enjoy this episode.
Hello and welcome to the Nova Show, Real Estate Records. My name is Tristan Hammett and I am your host for today's episode. Get ready to explore Utah's real estate landscape with Patty Dominguez. Originating from Brazil over 21 years ago and thriving as a Utah realtor for the past 5 years, Patty specializes in seller financing, investing, residential, and luxury homes. Juggling roles as a wife, mother of 4, and the first Latina president of Salt Lake Women's Council of Realtors in 2024, Patty and her husband also helm a successful construction company. Tune in for valuable insights and stories from this dynamic realtor, Patty Dominguez, and one of my very, very best friends in this industry.
Yes.
I met Patty through an introduction from Nuria. We met at a coffee shop. Like 2 years ago.
Talked to her year off.
Yeah, well, like 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and we've just been besties ever since. We talk all the time. We do everything together. So I'm so blessed to know you. This has been so fun. And I did specifically wait to record this episode with her because I wanted her to officially be installed as the Salt Lake Women's Council of Realtors this year. So welcome, Patty.
Thank you. And thank you for accepting to be part of Women's Council this year. I know it's a big commitment, but I really appreciate that.
It's so fun. And we really have a great group.
We do.
And you have been a phenomenal leader. It's almost like you've done this before, but I know you haven't.
Nope.
So
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but
I had nightmares about this.
But you are thriving as a leader in this role. So
thank you.
Okay, so tell us about your journey to America from Brazil and how you got into the real estate industry.
Oh, that was a big journey until I got into real estate, really big. I first lived in New York and my first job was a coat check. So people in New York, very fancy restaurants, they come with those big coats. You had to take them out, hang them, and then they give you a tip. And that's all I made. And that was in high school when I did that. And then from there, I had different roles at restaurants. I was counting the other day, I think I probably had like 15 different jobs before I became a realtor.
Wow.
Really.
Okay.
Because I did a little bit of everything. So it's like basically what happens to immigrants, right? When they come, you go to cleaning, some do babysitting and all of that. So that's how I started. But then I met my husband, we got married. And a year later, we moved to Utah, and it's because he served a mission here, and he loved it here. And he said, "Look, I know people there. I can get a job. We can get a place to live." I was like, "If you get me a job, you get yourself a job, and you get the apartment. That's the main things. I'll go." Okay. Because you just need to make sure everything is ready to go, right? That it's set. And so that's why I was like, okay, I had less anxiety about moving to a complete different state, but it went smooth. But we didn't do so well. Like, actually, I was a therapist. That was my last job before I came. I did counseling for people who had drug addictions.
Okay.
And then when I left, I was like, that's it. I'm retiring. I'm going to just be a mom. And little did I know it wasn't going to be like that. Like, I was a mom for a whole year. And after that, our savings were gone. And I'm like, okay, I need to go back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I know you've had the construction company for a while, and is that what kind of started off the real estate career path?
Yeah, no, actually the construction company came after. So I got a job after I had my year off and then I got a job at Wells Fargo. And so we had a bunch of really hard things happen that year with our family. And I had to quit Wells Fargo a year later. And he was just like, I need to make something work. And he always had like, I need to do real estate. I need to learn more about it. And a friend of his got introduced to like a fix and flipper program. And he went there, and I was just kind of very like skeptical about it. I was like, I don't know about this. But it actually, we bought the program. It's like an education. And then we studied for 3 straight months. And that's all we did was watch videos, no Netflix, nothing else. And after that, our mentor said, you're ready to buy your first home.
Oh, wow.
And we started real estate investing before I even had my real estate license and before he had the construction company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes like hand in hand, because if you now have buyers or even sellers that need to fix things before, you have
Right.
this construction company too. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And so the need started off as like, okay, we're doing this fix and flips. I'm paying these agents. Well, why don't I just become an agent so we can make more money or save money, right? We save in a commission and make more profit, whatever we want to structure it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the construction company was, we kept getting contractors that would take our money and leave. And it was awful. And some of them didn't have a license, so I couldn't even report them or anything. So we're like, no, that's it. And Carlos had a big background, because that's what he did right before he came to Utah. He used to work at remodeling apartments in New York.
Oh, okay.
So he had the background. And so he had the experience. So we're like, let's just do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since then, you do have investment homes. You have homes that you have purchased, flipped, sold. You've had Airbnbs. You still have one?
I have 2 right now.
2 currently? Okay. So, and then how has that helped you in the business side of things?
Just because I'm able to show my clients different options of things, and like I like to think of creative ideas. Like one of our companies, we have many companies, but one of them, it's the very first one we opened. It's called CP Creative Solutions. So it's C and P is Carlos Patty, and Creative Solutions, which is what we try to do for people, especially the population that I serve, which is the Brazilians, the Latinos. We need sometimes creative solutions for problems. They come and they need help with, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I don't know how to start. And, I need to open a company. I need to do taxes, all these things that they need help with. And so with me, I'm able to look, this is how you do things properly to make sure you can qualify for your home. And it's kind of like a guidance that happens even before we even go look at a home. It's a lot of the work before that I do, before even seeing, like, how in real estate, we don't get paid until the end and we close the transaction, but I do a lot of the work even before we see homes.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I want to talk about like special, like the I-10 loans. And I know you've done a lot of work with I-10 loans. And how has that knowledge helped you and clients get into homes? Because I know it might be fearful for people that are immigrants.
Yes.
And like the whole process, probably it is to, somebody that's lived here, a first-time home buyer. It's a lot of stress, but I'm sure that's a lot of extra stress. How do you walk them through this process and help guide them and educate them on I-10 loans?
Yeah. I-10 loans are hard. Like you said, there's a lot of fear involved, and there's some really strict guidelines. So we hear about different programs, and I look at them and I see, okay, who is the best fit for which one? I was just actually at a bank yesterday. I can't say the name, but it was very, very informative to see a process of them qualifying someone. It doesn't seem really hard. It was very simple, the type of paperwork they needed. And I was like, this is amazing. You guys are doing a great job for the community, because it has to be simplified. It can't be too complicated that people just like, it's just too hard. It's not possible. One of the things I hate hearing is like, oh no, it's never going to happen. It's not possible. That is not in my vocabulary. Like it's always possible. There's always ways. And so with I-10 loans, it's guiding them, again, the basic requisites, which you have to look at credit. You have to look at, some people don't have a social and they have incredible credit, and they don't have a social, but they have a great down payment. And I'm like, why shouldn't they be able to buy a house? You know? So that's kind of, I do look, let's look at credit. Let's look at your taxes. Very important for people who are self-employed, because that's my biggest thing ever that I have to talk to people about is taxes. It's my daily conversation is like, you have to pay taxes and you have to do your taxes well before you buy a house. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to get a house. So unless you do another solution that I have, which is without using the bank, right? If you do a seller finance. So, but there's cost for that. So there's like, I was doing a presentation yesterday with Brazilian entrepreneurs, women, and I explained to them, it's like, it all depends on each family. What's their main goal? That's what I try to get at when I first sit with them. It's like, what is your goal? Do you just need a house to own and you don't care where it is, how big it is, and everything? I can get you that. Oh no, you need the house. I can get you that. Oh, I want to give the less down payment possible. I can do that. Oh, I have one person that I offer, you can qualify for an FHA where you can do 3.5%. He's like, no, I want to put 110,000 down because I want to pay this off as soon as possible. So it's very individualized help based on each family's needs. And I tend to have special needs because they're going through so much. They're going through other stressors that some other people aren't. And so it's a lot of that emotional support too. I have a master's in psychology, and I feel like a lot of times I had to use it because it's like providing that guidance, like validating their feelings. Like I understand that this is stressful and it's anxious about this, but I also understand that if you buy this house, it's going to be the biggest blessing in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And kind of stressing that.
Okay.
You know,
and I can just, because I know you, but also this doesn't just come from meeting with like one lender and going to like one investing like group. This is consistently educating yourself and getting familiar with the different lenders, the different programs. Some of the I-10 loans, well, like any other loan, they all might have different down payment options that you have to meet and things like that. So you are one to be consistently at classes, you're at the board. I mean, you're everywhere there is to learn about anything that helps you build your business. And that's something that I admire about you. You know, you're just constantly out there.
I wanted to go to Kathy's class today, but I couldn't. I really wanted
Side
to.
note.
Side note, Kathy. Because I was like, that's such a cool class. But then I also had to go walk this property. And I'm like, well, the class is at 10:30 and then I have to walk it at 11:30. And I wasn't going to make it. And that's constantly my day.
Yeah,
it's like, what can I make it?
Priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is like, it's not just, oh, yeah, I can qualify you, no problem. Like, no, you have to kind of understand what the products are so you can finally understand. And I've talked enough with lenders that I have a little bit more understanding of like what the requisites are. So I can know. I try to pre-qualify them over the phone just with a few questions. And I know what, if they can, if we can work on some things or if they need to wait. So there's things that we really can get past. Like, I had a client just talk to me yesterday. It was like, okay, so for us to break our lease on our apartment would be $10,000.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, there's no way we're doing this right now. And I was like, well, ask if you can like sublet it to someone else, or if you find somebody that would take over your lease, then if they'll let you go, right? So there are some things you can get past. If there's no way, then they can't do it right now. But I never say there's a lost cause. Like, we just got to wait a little bit. And it'll be okay.
Okay, that's awesome. So besides being educated, building the connections with lenders and things, you're also very involved in the real estate community in building relationships with other realtors. I've had conversations with some realtors that just do not see the benefit of that. They're like, I don't want to be at events with other realtors. I could be out doing things for my business, you know? Right. But I've also seen where a lot of successful agents like yourself, they are always, not always,
collaborating.
But collaborating and networking with each other. And so why is that important to you?
So I've seen people that are successful because they partnered up, they just join forces. And I believe in collaboration over competition, right? So I have one agent that we do festivals. We do festivals together all summer, and then all the leads we get from that, we're gonna work them together and we're gonna split it. And I think, like, why not? Now I have an extra person who, and we have, I mean, that's very delicate. You have to have the same level of commitment, the same ethics. You have the same work ethic, because otherwise it's not gonna work. But we do. And so me and the other agent, we do these festivals, and it works because we have a commitment, and we're like, we're gonna make this work, and we're gonna call, and we get together, we make calls together, and it works. And I learn from her, and I hopefully she learns a little bit from me, and I think that's great. The other thing is just the fact that I just had a collaboration with my new broker, and it was something like, I couldn't believe that it happened. So I threw a party at her home. So she had a home in the Parade of Homes, and then she had 3 more in that same street. And then so we picked, okay, we won't do a party at the Parade home so people can browse through it, but we'll do it on this home next door. And literally the home that I threw the party in, I ended up selling to my clients like a few months later.
Yeah.
So I was going through, okay, let's look at some homes that are offering seller financing and Draper. And that home popped up, and it was like, well, I know this home. I've been in this home. I know the agent.
And the builder.
And the builder. It was a quick message. So because I had that relationship, it was like, no question about it. Like, it's yours. And I think a lot of the problems we see in transactions with each other, it's because there's no connection. So one thing I learned, I was at NAR, and one person said, after you go on the contract, like you represent either the buyer or the seller, doesn't matter. Ask that other agent out for coffee. Go have a meal together, go chat, go get to know each other. Guess what? If there's hurdles afterwards, if there's problems, they're going to be handled better because you built that rapport. But if there's no rapport, if we're just strangers to each other, we're not going to be helping, our clients well because egos get in the way and all other things. So I have this proof of how well that went because I knew that person. She trusted me. I trusted her. And we will be able to get my client at home. And so I think it's very valuable. And I think people should do it more often.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay. And I want to talk about your social media.
You always give me crap about that.
No, you do a great job.
Because you say, you don't do it yourself.
Okay. Well, okay. She has somebody that does her social media for her, which 100%, I am like, yes, that is great. This person is consistently posting for her. They are always professional. I go to her page. I know she's a realtor. So that is 100%. Yeah. I'd like to see, obviously, a little bit more of
Patty.
Of Patty and who you are, at least in your stories. But
yes, I tried them.
Yeah. And so how have you felt social media has helped you in your business?
At first it didn't. At first I didn't get anything. And then I started doing these videos. Last year when the market shifted and I was like, crap, like this is not good. That means we're not going to be doing a lot of business, like going to show homes and doing all these appointments. So that means I need to focus my energy on something. And I was like, I'm going to focus on education. So I'm going to educate my community because the more educated they are, the better they can make the choices, the better they can prepare. So I started doing video after video after video about that. And I think the videos have helped.
When they see you as an expert too. You have a lot of informative videos on your Instagram page. Yeah,
and I want them to know, like, I like to share my knowledge, obviously, but I also want them to, so one thing I say over and over, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to buy a house in 2026, you need to talk to me right now before you file your taxes for 2023, because your 2 years of taxes need to be very well done. So we give that guidance. So I go and I drill them. I drill in their heads all this information so they know. Even if they're not ready right now, when they are, they're going to know what to do. And so it helps because now people share my videos I share some of them in some of the groups that I'm in, and people just come and ask questions. And I've gotten a lot of leads now from Instagram from, oh, somebody reposted this video and I need to know more.
Okay. That's
Yeah, it
amazing.
works. It's good.
Yeah. So is the person that runs your social media, are they local?
They're in Brazil.
You're in Brazil.
Yeah.
I love
I know.
supporting your
I know.
country. Yeah.
Well, first of all, it's cheaper because I pay in Brazilian currency, and I'm paying in dollars, and what is it? $1 is worth 5 reais. So it's cost efficient for me. And they do a really good job at even sending me some stuff to approve myself. They will create content for me. Sometimes it's a lot of me like, hey, I want to post about this article. I want to post about this. But a lot of times it's them, hey, what do you think about this post? And I'm like, oh, that looks great. And,
okay.
they can go on Google Translate or whatever if they need help, and then they can put the captions and the hashtags, and then they just send it to me for approval, and we post.
Okay.
So
Do you have like monthly meetings or weekly, or do they kind of know you now?
they kind of know me. It's been like 2 years now.
Okay.
But we did have a meeting in the beginning of the year because I am doing a lot of rebranding. I want
Love it.
to look a certain way, to have to send a certain message, not just with my Instagram, but with my looks and things. So I want to change a few things. And so we had a big meeting. I am in the brokerage right now that doesn't, because I'm not in a team and I'm not in a place that offers a website. He's creating a website for me that's going to be my own. I also want to have more of the Patty, not whatever company, but Patty.
Mm-hmm.
And I want that brand to be more prevalent, but that's what I want. And so I want to create these. So we had a really long meeting the other day to kind of align some things, and we might start having more often just so we can
hit certain goals of your social media.
Right. Because it's something I started a year I want to focus more on.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Yay. I know you do, or whoever your person is in Brazil,
really
he
nice.
does a really great job.
Yeah. I love it.
So, okay. And I want to talk about, this is big with you because I am around you all the time and I still have no idea how you do this. Well, you did. You gave a beautiful speech at your installment of how you're able to juggle the family and the business life, because for some reason it just seems like you have way more hours in the day than I do.
I just sent emails out at 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh. So with everything that you're doing, and I mean, this woman is working every single day. There is not a day, unless she's sick in bed, but still she's in bed working. That she's not taking a day off of work. So, and I know that contributes to her success right there alone. But balancing these are 4 little ones too. Yeah. These are not like teenagers. They're little. And all your flips and your businesses and real estate and your clients and now women's council. Mm-hmm. So how do you manage all of your time?
It's hard. Like, so I once heard someone say it's like managing everything in your life. It's like those circus people that are like flipping the plates, and then they're not all gonna flip at the same like speed. Mm-hmm. So one's gonna flip high and while you're paying attention to it. And so it's like understanding that in the long term, it needs to even out. So the family time, the women's council, then work, then church, then husband, because he needs his own time. And so it has to even out at the end. I do have my mother-in-law that helps me with my kids, and it's like I can walk out that door without one bit of worry, mm-hmm. because I know my kids are in the greatest hands. So I think that contributes a lot to it, being able to like, okay, I can disconnect that part because that's taken care of. But it's also prioritizing what's the priority today. Like I said, today I had the house and I had the class, and I'm like, I wish I could just clone myself and go to both. But I'm like, if I go to the class, I'll only be there for 30 minutes. What's the point? Mm-hmm. Then I'll get notes from someone, or I'll catch the next one, right? But it's a lot of juggling and a lot of working on. I only got for the holidays, I only got to rest on Christmas Day. That was it. Like before, after New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, I was doing stuff. And I didn't look at my phone for the entire morning of Christmas. Like we open up gifts. I didn't even know where my phone was, which is a miracle. Like to me, like it's a problem because we work so much and emails and stuff. But then at 2:00, that's when I first look at. So I played every single game that my daughters got for Christmas, including Monopoly, which is long.
Yeah.
And then at 2:00, that's funny when I looked at my phone and I look at my phone and there's like a client that bought a condo a year ago. And he's like, I just had a flood.
Oh, no.
And then, so I'm like, it's Christmas. And it's like, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. And it can consume you. And it just has to have a balance. So I try to have time. For example, I'm going on a cruise this Friday with my 2 oldest. And so I do a lot of these trips when I only take them. Well, first of all, the kid's a little small and it's harder.
Yeah.
But I also think that they need their special time with mom and dad without the babies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's go. It's going to be their first cruise ever. They're so excited. It's like the cruise for their birthdays because it was in December and we didn't do parties. So, which I try to compensate by doing things like that, like taking them on trips. We're going to Brazil in March with all of them.
Like it's all these experiences that you do. Yeah.
So it's like I'm not the mom who's going to be on the weekends like all Saturday, oh, let's go to the park and then let's go to the trampoline park and then let's go to the movies. I can't do that. Most Saturdays I'm working showing homes. But I can break a few, like if I can give them a few wonderful trips a year where we create those memories, I feel like I'm doing my job, even though sometimes I don't think they might see it right away.
They will, though.
Because they miss me. I know that. I know especially my oldest too. They need like quality time with mom. But I'm building something here because I know that in a few years, I want to be more present. So this is the grinding time. And then it's going to be the time where I get to enjoy all that I'm planting here. And it should be more freedom. And then I can spend more time with them. Aww. And it's all for them.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about Women's Council of Realtors. I've been involved basically for the 2 years that I've been with Novation now. And you joined, was it last year or the year before?
I joined 2022.
2022. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 2022 when Ruby was the president. Yes.
Okay. So 2022. And it was almost like right away you knew you wanted to be president, like one day.
Yeah. So Women's Council, I became a realtor. Then I had lots of things happen in my personal life. And then I started looking at those events and I was like, that looks fun. Like all those realtors together. Like, I wonder what that's about. And then I finally went and joined. And then I went to my first event. And I was like, oh, this is really nice. And then I met Nuria in one of the events. That's when she spoke. I was like, wow, this is really, it's a cool place. And that first year, I was just like, oh, let me so first of all, the reason why I volunteered for the golf is because I didn't know how to play golf.
That was so fun with you.
I didn't know how to play golf. And I'm like, okay, there's a really cool event. I don't know how to play golf. I'm not going to join a team. So like, how can I get into this event and not look stupid or something? I was like, I'm just going to volunteer to help. And so I did. And that we volunteered together and we were at the tent. And it was so much fun.
We had so much fun.
It was so great. And I got Carlos to be a sponsor. Yeah. Like I volunteer him to do things with Women's Council all the time. But so that's how I first volunteered to it. And then I volunteered to the gala. That was that year. So I became, and then I wanted to be on the board and I didn't know how it worked. I was like, I don't know how this works. And so when I said, oh, I want to be part of the board, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, all the seats are taken. We don't have any vacancies, but you can participate and be part of committees. I was like, oh, cool. And then on Monday, I get a phone call and there was an event on Friday and the new board was going to get installed. So the 2023 board was getting installed on Friday. And I get a call from Sophie Reese on Monday. And she's like, a spot just opened up. Would you like to be our first vice? And I had no idea what that meant. I said, sure. I'm like, sure, I'll do it. No idea. She kind of said a few things. So this is what and I thought I kind of understood. Oh, I think it's a secretary position. And it really is. It's taking notes and helping out. But I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, I already have my red dress. I'm ready for Friday. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And then when I first started to be part of the board in the meetings, then I started having this feeling like this is amazing. This is a great place to be. Maybe I want to be a president, but I by then I was started already understanding, okay, you have to first be voted as president-elect. We already had a president-elect. So I'm like, okay, so I can go president-elect next year, which will be 2024, and I'll be president in 2025, which sounds great. I have 2 years to prepare myself for this. It's going to be amazing. And then we were in DC. And Sophie said, you know how you said that you want to go for president-elect? How do you feel about doing that now and being our next president? And there were some circumstances for it. And I was like, okay, sure. I mean, she said she had so much faith in me. I think Sophie's the biggest part of me being able to do this. She had so much faith in me that made me have faith in myself that I could do this.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to her, I'm like, I learned from the best, because she really knows how to work women's council. She's done it 3 times, and she knows the ins and outs. And that's what helped me know, like, the more knowledge you have, the more confident you are. And so knowing what is expected of you helps you be a better leader, because you're on top of things.
Right. Absolutely.
And so that's what happened.
I know. It's been so fun watching you progress through this. And being on this board with you this year is so fun. And what are some of the things that you are implementing? I mean, I know what they are, but what are some of the things that you're implementing as president? Yeah.
So I'm very passionate about women empowerment. There's people that don't really like having girlfriends because they don't really get along. And I love having women around me. It's my happy place. I love girls' nights. I love having these moments where we're together and we're sharing and we are being just us ourselves, and we have a place to be ourselves, and no one's judging us, and I feel like we're stronger together. So my big vision for this year, and I have a motto, which is together we rise. Because there's a lot, like you said, a lot of people that I believe in, like, oh, I just want to do my thing. I don't need to meet anyone else. I don't need to mingle. But I feel like there's so much strength for when we gather together and get through it. Like the market, I said in my speech, I'm like, the market isn't easy. We all know that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not what it was 2-3 years ago. So how are we going to make it through it? It's together. It's sharing. There's room for everyone. We can all learn from each other. Someone from my brokerage just mentioned an idea that she had. I have this like amazing survival kit in the trunk of my car, and it's amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. Yeah. I'm gonna do one too. Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, we can all learn from each other and we can grow together. And so I want this to become a community of support. Like one of the big things, and I didn't think we were going to have so much people wanting to help. And so I think that we're going to actually have a whole committee of people that are designed to help in tough situations. So somebody cannot do their showings due to sickness or something like that. We're going to arrange for someone to cover those showings for her. And other things that may need it, right? Like somebody might be going through a rough time and need some support or some resources. And we want to become that community that embraces that need and just go to work and act on it. So it's the compassionate service project team lead, and that person is going to help out with these jobs. I also want to do like the Facebook group. I know a lot of people don't use Facebook anymore, but I think it's going to create that community that we need to, because we can ask questions. We can share our open houses. Like I was thinking, as a board, we already kind of support each other. We have a text message thread that if you're having an event, you can invite someone. If I'm having an open house, I can invite, hey, would you? Or if I'm like, you know what, my home is not selling, and it's been in the market for a few days and I'm worried and would you come and take a look and give me some feedback? Right. And that I think it's so valuable. And I think that we can create that in that Facebook group where if people are sharing the open houses, we can start going to each other's.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like more support.
Yeah.
And so those are a couple of things that I really am really care about and I really want to see grow in Women's Council. Women's Council is a women's organization, and women, we're not easy. We're not. But I think that we have so much good in us that we can share and we can make something beautiful. And we can be vulnerable. I'm in this big thing now that I want to be more vulnerable and allow myself to just really like look at what I'm lacking and being real about it. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all are work in progress, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like this year, you're really getting people more involved and feeling like they're involved in the organization, you know?
Yeah.
And really making this like a community, which I love that you're doing that.
It's for them.
Yeah.
It's for every single one of them. Like seeing how happy everyone was after the first event and how much they got out of it. I'm like, the moment that I knew I was going to be president, I already started thinking, what kind of events are we going to have? Alma's name popped in my head. And I'm like, I think he needs to be one of the first ones. And I think it's the reason why is because he started, and it's a tough topic, right? He was talking about pain.
Yeah.
And no one wants, oh my gosh, people could have thought it was depressing, right? Oh my gosh, the first event you're talking about pain. No, like every single person that I know, and I talked to my broker about this yesterday, every single person that I know that is successful has gone through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And they come like they came out the other side and they're standing and they're doing what they can every day and they're successful. So I'm like, every single one of us in that room has gone through something painful, and we could learn how to pass through it, just allow ourselves to feel all of it, but don't succumb under it. Like, just don't get buried by it. Just rise through it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. Yeah, he did a great job.
He did, right?
Yeah, he did. Okay, so we're going to like go back a little bit, back to the real estate business part of it. And so I know you previously were on you were solo, and then you joined a team for a little while, whom you still have great relationships with. On that team, though, you learned a skill of phone calls. And you crushed it.
I was thinking about this today, actually, because the phone calls with the scripts are hard for me. I get really nervous and I stumble and then I sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm a great communicator. Like, I feel like if I'm talking to a person in person, they can feel my energy. They can understand what I'm saying. They're like with it. But on the phones, it's just like a blank screen. And I've got a lot of coaches from that team and even from the brokerage were like, just have a conversation. But I just get really nervous. I was able to convert one person over the phone and while on the team. And I'm like, I can do it. But she was Spanish speaking. And I'm like, I think that has something to do with that because I think I got more comfortable with the Latinos.
Okay.
So I was just more relaxed on that phone call because she was Latina. And I'm like, oh, that's why I was able to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But to me, I was thinking about that. You did that one. You can do it again. And you can do it over and over again. I'm like, I thinking more like door knocking might be my thing.
Right.
Because I'm in person and they can see me and they can feel, again, my energy.
Yeah.
And I'm not stumbling and trying to find words. I'm like, just being myself. And I think that will work better.
I think that's going to be way better. That's what I would want to do.
I have it ready. Like, the weather needs to help me out because under 32, it's kind of rough for a Brazilian. But as soon as I see like 40s, I'm out there knocking doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how have you been? So you're generating business. So I know it's from events that you do. And SOI, you're heavy in your SOI. What are some of the things that you do to stay top of mind and in front of them?
So I'm big on the Christmas. So Thanksgiving, Christmas is a time where I personally go to their home and I bring them something. And it's getting harder because the list it's growing. So the more people I have to go, it's harder for me. So I just realized I have to start sooner. So like Thanksgiving, I should probably start November 1st. and then December 1st for Christmas. And that's one like very special touch that I like doing because that time of the year, I want to see them. I want to catch up with them. I just did one. It was for Christmas. So I went on Thanksgiving. I brought a pie and then I sat on the couch and we talked about a few things. And the client's like, yeah, I'm going to have surgery and this and that. So when I came to in December, I was like, oh, remind me again when your surgery is going to happen. She's like, no. So immigration sent a letter for my husband and he needs to go to his interview in Mexico to get his green card. And so we canceled the surgery. That's what we're doing. So she's like, I'm leaving in 2 days. And he's going to spend Christmas in Mexico for the first time in 14 years. And the appointment is at January 2nd. So I just started crying with her because I'm like so happy that he gets to spend Christmas with his mom after 14 years. Mm-hmm. And then after that, he has his interview and then he can get his green card and come. And I was just so happy. And that moment to me, it's priceless. And it's very important to create that relationship where you truly interested in what's going on in their lives. Mm-hmm. You're not just there to like, hey, who do you know?
Right.
It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about caring about how they're doing, physically, mentally, family relationships. Some people confide in me how, they're having a tough time with their marriage and things like that. And it's like, it's real. It's a friendship.
Right.
It's like what happened to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you came over, obviously you wanted to establish a business relationship, but we became friends and it was like natural. Yeah. And that's how it is with clients. So one of the things I like to do is those pop buys. I want to do more.
Which she does do because she dropped by my house.
I did.
So thoughtful.
I know. And so I'm like, it's something I like to do to show love.
Yeah.
So I want to do more pop buys. I don't want it to be just the end of the year. So this year I want to do like at least once a quarter. And then twice in December, November, December. And then I'm actually opening a VIP club.
Okay.
Idea from, I don't know, a title company who has a VIP or diamond club. So I stole this idea of doing something. So everyone that's been my client or has referred me a client that has closed, they're part of my VIP club. And what's going to happen is I'm going to have one event every quarter to celebrate them. And so I just talked to someone who owns a beauty clinic and she's like, let's do an event and it will be a general event, but I'm going to open it up an hour early for your VIPs and we can do special drawings for them, special prizes. And it's just something for them to feel special because they are special. They have like trusted my job, my work. And not only that, they referred me to their friends and family, and that's very important to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing events every quarter for them. I also do big events on holidays. So we do Easter. We do one in the summer. We do a Halloween one, and we do a Christmas one. Okay. So on top of at least, there's a lot of touches happening because of all the events and all the things that we have going on.
But it's great if it's bringing them value and you business. And I think those are one of the most important things to do. And actually, so I'm in Nudia's coaching for leadership business. And recently we were talking about building referral programs, right? So who else better out there than your past clients that have worked with you, or even people that just know and love you, who better out there raving about, like, make them raving fans, you know, like create referral programs because that's the easiest way to get you business.
Yes. And I had, so when I dropped off my last cookie box, On December 23rd at like evening time, I drove all the way to Heber. That was my last stop. And they couldn't believe that I drove all the way to Heber to drop off a cookie box and an ornament
Oh, I love
and
that.
a card. And I was like, of course, like, and my kids were in the car, all my kids. So the 23rd, I put all my kids in the car in the morning, and they were in the car the entire day.
Oh my God.
As I was dropping off cookies, because I was doing Utah County, and then I came all the way and I finished in Heber. So they were so great, though. I gotta say, I gave them, their snacks, their juice, stopped, got some Chick-fil-A on the way, and it was great. And even one of them napped, two of them maybe. But it was great. And then when I got there, I was like, hey, you mentioned to me around Thanksgiving that you were gonna have, friends over for Christmas. Oh, when did they get here? And they're like, oh, they're getting here on the 25th in the morning. I'm like, well, so that means you're spending the 24 by yourselves? It was a couple. They don't live here. They live in Texas. And
Oh, I know.
yeah,
That. Yeah.
you know that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, like come to my house, Ben, because the
Aw.
Latinos is big on the 24th. So it's like, come to my house, and they were, it was so great. It was so fun, and I love that. I love to create that like that friendship with them,
Mhm.
because it's not. I mean, that is not even about business. Like, I'm sure if they think of somebody that needs to buy a house, they're gonna refer me, but it's become more than that.
Right.
We've done dinners, we laugh, we joke around. So I love that aspect of getting to know more people and just adding to this group of friends. Because again, I like people.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about them real quick. How did you meet them? Because they don't live here.
They don't. So she sent me a Facebook message.
Interesting.
Yes. So I think I remember, I think I asked, because I usually ask, but she got in contact with me about a year ago, and she said, hi, my husband and I want to buy land in Utah because we want to buy a house. What's your number? And so I gave them my number, and then all of a sudden this number from Texas keeps calling me. I was like, what's going on? They like the phone. So I'm like, okay. So I talked to him, and they came in the winter. And we looked at land, but you couldn't really see the land because it was covered in snow. So they said they were going to come back in May. And then in May, I touched bases with them. They're like, oh, no, we're not coming yet, but we might come in September. And so they came in September, and they had completely changed their minds. They're like, actually, we don't want to do land anymore. We want to buy a home that's already built. And that's how it started. But I asked her, I remember asking her, how did you get and I think she said that she asked on a Facebook group, and someone referred my name. And then because I was Brazilian and all that,
Yeah.
she liked that. And that's how it started. And it's actually the biggest deal I've had, like the biggest commission I've had in my career.
Yeah.
It was from a Facebook message.
Yeah.
And it's insane.
Yeah.
Because you don't
just
think,
never-
you never know.
But it's social media that keeps us all connected.
Right.
Some way, somehow, people know
Right.
people that you don't know,
Right.
and it's just
It's insane. I
it's
couldn't
spider
believe
web.
it. Because at first you're like, really? They're from out of state? They want to buy land? You almost think it's like a scam.
And like the
is it-
nicest people.
They are.
They're so
are.
cute
They
and
are.
so nice. Oh, I'm
know.
so glad. That's so
And
cool
it's
that
so
you've made that
cool.
connection.
And
And social media.
yeah.
I mean, like, that is so rad.
Uh-huh.
Okay, my dear. Well, we have to come to an end. I could talk to you.
I think
Really,
so.
Patty and I could talk like all day, and I do have more questions,
real.
or we might have to do like a mini-sode later.
Yeah.
But thank you so much to our
Okay.
listeners, and thank you to
you.
Patty, my bestie,
Thank you for inviting me.
being here with me today. And where can people follow you?
Patty the Realtor. So patty.the.realtor. And that's his Instagram, and Facebook is the key to your dream home.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
Did you learn a lot about me today that you didn't know?
I did. There's some
I
stuff.
I know you know
There
a
was
lot
some
about me.
stuff though that I'm like Wells Fargo. I was like, oh yeah, she did work at,
Yeah.
like that I just forget about.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Novation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.